Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Al-Murabit's company, and this is your H2S Induction. Pay attention to the following information, as it will contain information that is vital for yours and my life, because if you don't pay attention, you may end up endangering your own life or somebody else's. H2S gas. What is it? H2S, from its name, like we said, it's a gas. It's a gas that is found in the oil and gas field, and since you're on a drilling rig now, it is very likely that you will find it. It is one of the most severe occupational hazards in the oil and gas industries. Pay attention that it is one of the most severe hazards in the oil and gas industries. It is not the only one. It is accumulated wherever a mixture of gas is present. So wherever you have a mixture of gas, maybe there is H2S, but you may not be able to smell it because, like we will talk about in a minute, the smell or scent of other gases and chemicals may mask that of the H2S, and you won't be able to smell rotten eggs. H2S is produced by decomposition of organic material. Basically, millions and millions of, or hundreds of thousands of years ago, a lot of people died, a lot of animals died, a lot of dinosaurs died. All of these things decomposed, their bodies became oil in the ground, and this is where we get the oil from. H2S has many names. I'm going to read a few of them for you now. Hydrogen sulfide, sour gas, rotten egg gas, stink nap, hydrosulfuric acid, sulfur hydride, dihydrogen sulfide, and sulfurated hydrogen. All of these names and more represent the gas of H2S. Sources of H2S on this drilling rig: on the rig floor, shale shakers, the cellar, BOP area, substructure, all of these are the same area. The mixing area, the mud tanks, the degasser, near the cementing pump, near the third-party service companies that are present on site. It depends on when your arrival is. Maybe even at the muster point, if the muster point is downwind from the source of release of H2S. So pay attention to when the H2S is released, if it is released, and always look at the windsock to know where to evacuate to. So if the wind is going this way, you must go that way. If the wind is going that way, you must go this way. You always go upwind, or crosswind. So if the wind is going this way, you can go this way, or this way. But here on this location, we only have two muster points, the primary and secondary, so always go to the one where the wind is not blowing to that location. Okay, what are the physical properties of H2S? H2S is colorless. There's absolutely no visible signs to warn you of the presence or absence of H2S. So maybe now when I'm speaking to you, there is H2S, I cannot see it. No matter what, you cannot see H2S. It smells like rotten eggs. It smells like really heavy odor of eggs in low concentrations. But at high concentrations, you cannot even smell it, because if you're exposed to 100 ppm of H2S, or more, 100 ppm is the immediately dangerous to life and health limit, or IDLH. Once you're exposed to that for 1 minute to 15 minutes, it depends, 1 to 15 minutes. If you're exposed to H2S, you will most likely lose your sense of smell. So you will not even know if it's there or not there, which gives us a good reason to not depend on our sense of smell to detect the presence or absence of H2S. We should always use a personal multi-gas, gas detector, or a multi-gas detector, or we use the fixed alarm system on location, or we ask the person in charge, in this case myself, or the safety person on site or an authorized gas tester to test our location before we go into especially confined spaces like cellars, vessels or pump tanks. Always check these places before you enter them. Make sure there is enough oxygen, there is no presence of lower explosive limit of mixtures of gases, there is no H2S, and there is no CO. You always have to check these things before you enter any confined space. Back to the physical properties of H2S. Vapor density, it is heavier than air, which is why it will settle in low-lying areas. Cellars, shale shakers, mud tanks, low-lying areas. If you have low ground, it will go there. H2S will go there. Pits, vessels, what have you. But here on this drilling rig, we always pay attention to all kinds of tanks in the mud system, and the cellar, and it depends on the level of or the stage of this operation. We may even have frac tanks or other tanks, so pay attention. H2S gas may be present there because it is heavier than air. So by volume, if air is 1, H2S is 1.189. Okay, but it's easier just to say H2S is 1.19 heavier than air. Okay, it is extremely flammable. H2S, it is extremely flammable. If there is 4.3% of H2S, 4.3%, that is 43,000 ppm of H2S to 460,000 ppm, or 46% of H2S. So 4.3%, the lower explosive limit, to 46% of H2S. Within this range, H2S is extremely flammable and explosive. If there is a source of ignition, that generates a spark, H2S will most likely violently explode, ending up blowing up the well and killing everybody around. So this tells us if your equipment is not intrinsically safe, please keep it away from the rig floor, from the cellar, from the tanks, from every place where it may generate spark or give off signal. Keep your equipment away. Keep your phone away. Keep your non-EX proof equipment away from the cellar, away from the shell shaker, the tanks, and the rig floor, all these areas. Because if there is a spark, any kind of spark, you may end up igniting the H2S if there is enough of it in the atmosphere. Excuse me. H2S is soluble in most fluids. Oil and gas, oil is included. However, H2S will be released from this fluid if that fluid is agitated, or that fluid is heated, or that fluid is depressurized. So, agitation, heating, and depressurization. If one of these things happens to that fluid which contains H2S, H2S will be released in the atmosphere. Okay? Now, it is also corrosive, H2S. It is corrosive to metal. Okay, what's next? We have some limits of H2S. I don't want to cover all of them because it will be too long. But H2S in low concentrations, it smells like rotten eggs. When you smell that, okay, don't depend on it. Don't depend on your sense of smell. But when you smell H2S, immediately notify your supervisor or anybody you see. Hey, I smell H2S. Okay, good. Now we can take steps to see why this is, why we have H2S on site. Immediately. Once you smell it, let us know. That's one. As the concentrations go high, as they go higher, the effects of H2S on us will increase. So at first you may have some burning of the eyes. Your throat will be itchy. You start coughing. Maybe you start tearing up. But as the H2S increases, your defenses will start to battle it even more, which will make you weaker because it's defending you. So you will have maybe vomiting. You may have diarrhea. You may end up passing out. If you are passed out from H2S, you have to be rescued immediately. But the person doing the rescuing has to be protected with SCBA. We will talk about that in a few minutes. Now, the H2S effects on people depend on different factors, because H2S may affect me in a different way than it affects somebody else. Why? Do I have low susceptibility or high tolerance or low tolerance? It's not that. It just depends on these factors. One, how long was I exposed to this H2S? How much H2S was I exposed to? How often am I exposed to this level of H2S? And what my personal susceptibility is. Okay? Now some people say, oh, I've been doing this job for 20 years, every day H2S, H2S, H2S. I'm immune to it. There is no such thing as immune to H2S. Why? Because imagine yourself in a ring with a great boxer, like Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, or any other boxer famous to your country. If you go in the first round, you're going to throw some punches, he's going to throw some punches. The next round, you're going to throw some punches, he's going to throw some punches. It's important to know that you are not a boxer, but you're fighting a boxer. So the boxer is not getting weaker, you are. So every time you're exposed to H2S, your defenses are being less and less and less. So please follow the safety procedures. When you smell H2S, when you hear the alarm, just evacuate to the upwind or crosswind muster point. We covered this to never rely on your sense of smell, and we have fixed alarm systems on site. You will see I will show you the fixed alarm sensor. It is connected to an alarm. Once it reaches the preset levels, once the H2S gas reaches the preset level, it will activate the low alarm, which is only lights on our alarm systems. But then when it reaches the high alarm preset level, it will activate the audible alarm, and everybody on site will hear it. Once you hear that alarm, you have to know what to do. Now, based on the H2S Alive course, there is a 7-step initial response strategy that you have to follow. Evacuate, alarm, assess, protect, rescue, revive, and medical aid. This is too much for you to remember. I'm going to break it down to you. Now, this is for the non-essential personnel. Evacuate the area immediately. So what you do is, don't inhale. You heard the alarm. Hold your breath. Hold your breath. Find whatever is the safest path for you to evacuate. Evacuate from there immediately. Now, some companies differ from others. It depends on where you are. Some people will say you have to mask up and evacuate. Some people will say go to the muster point as soon as you can without masking up. Okay, they say this because they have different contingency plans for their own companies. So based on that company, you have to follow whatever that client company tells you. For me personally, I always say mask up and go. Mask up and go is the safest way for you, because you don't know, maybe you'll be traveling through a cloud of H2S. Just mask up and go to the muster point. Okay? That's that. So evacuate, you went. Alarm, on the way, let others know. Like if there's a door or something, like knock on the door, or activate the alarm. Go. Assess. Once you're at the muster point, like you've been in muster points before, in muster drills, fire drills, H2S drills in the past, assess, evacuate, alarm, assess. Assess is what is happening now when the person in charge doing the head count and the company representative, the rig manager, the tool pusher, the emergency team is ready, the rescue team is ready. They are assessing by doing the head count first. They are doing the head count, everything is good. Nope, somebody is missing. Okay, now a part of that assessment is this. Who is he? Let's say his name is John. John is missing. Okay, what color is his uniform? What company is he from? How heavy is he? Who last saw him? Where was he? Was he conscious? Was he unconscious? Do we need any special equipment or tools to rescue him? What hazards do we have in the way? Do we have fire? Do we have slippery surfaces? Do we have chemicals? Do we have so many things? Like obstacles on the road. Is the road condition good? Is it slippery, foggy, rainy, snowy, hot, cold? All these things you have to include, but of course you will already know most of this information because you know John and you know where he is, you know what his job is, you know where his location is. Okay, so you've done the assessment. Now, not necessarily you, but the companies have done, the client company and the drilling company, they have done their assessment and they are ready to send in their rescue team. But before they send in their rescue team, the rescue team must be protected. Why? Because you said evacuate, alarm, assess, and then protect. Protect, then rescue. Protect, then rescue. So protect yourself by wearing the SCBA and then conducting the rescue. Once you conduct the rescue, which I will show you after this video, conduct the rescue and then revive. Revive means performing first aid if needed. First aid and CPR if needed. The revive has to happen in a safe area where you can take off your mask, or you can hand them off to the medic, and the medic, the on-site medic or doctor or nurse, they will take care of them. The seventh step is medical aid. So evacuate, alarm, assess, protect, rescue, revive, and then medical aid. It doesn't matter how many minutes or seconds this person was unconscious. It doesn't matter. What matters is if even he was brought down to one knee because of H2S, he must go to the medical center to get checked up. And this person cannot return to work unless they are cleared for duty by a licensed medical professional who can say, yes, this person can come back to work. Okay, now the 7-step initial response strategy is done. In the following few videos, I'm going to show you how to use the SABA, the Supplied Air Breathing Apparatus, SCBA, Self-Contained Breathing Apparatus, and EEBA, Emergency Escape Breathing Apparatus. Thank you for watching, and let's do the next video.